watch along on YouTube and chat to people on YouTube, I'll give you the link. The only thing I ask is if you are watching on YouTube, please make sure that you mute it, because otherwise we'll hear the same show round and around and around and around. There it is.
There's a bit of a time
infinite
shift,
recursion
right?
is always the best bit of
There
stream.
is. It's about a 10-second difference between the live show and YouTube, just so that YouTube can take out any like Nazi porn bombing that might happen or anything like that. We're on StreamYard, so that sort of thing doesn't happen. That only happens on Zoom. Hello out there on YouTube. We're just warming up and gossiping and trying to work out how Jack is still alive, being as he's about to be pulled into the event horizon of a sun. Suns have an event horizon, don't they?
Yes, that's very
No
interesting.
one nodded. Oh no, Chungling shall go. No, we're out. Chungling shall go. Oh, I've been reading some great books about science that's wrong. I don't know any right physics, but I know a lot of very speculative physics. Welcome everybody. Welcome. These are our incredible players today. We'll get them all to introduce themselves properly when we start the real show, because now we're just kind of mucking about. We'll find out where everybody is. There's a bit of fun. Hello, I'm Steve. I'm in my shed in London. Yulia, where are you?
Well, I'm in my shed in Belgium.
You're actually in a shed. Amazing. Amazing. Good. So we're already international. Look at the cross-European collaboration that's happening. And on the subject of different countries in Europe, Jones the Maths, where are you?
I'm currently in Wales, which is
Wales.
it's currently hotter than the sun. It's certainly hotter than Wales has ever been before.
What's this going to do for all the jokes you have about how Wales never has any sun?
Well, this will soon be forgotten when it starts raining tomorrow, which is forecast. So I'll be fine.
And Jack, where are you, other than on the surface of the sun, obviously?
I'm
It must
happy
be
with
very hot for
the
him.
sun in Scotland.
In Scotland. So like we go, 4 people, 4 countries represented so far. Let's go to Ophelia. Ophelia, where are you?
I'm in Southampton. So
Southampton, yeah. So Brexit, Britain. That's another part. That's another country entirely. No, Southampton, of course, is Remain. It's just the whole of the rest of Hampshire that is Leave. Let's go to Chungling. Chungling, where are you?
I am in Woking, which is Tory hotbed,
Woking,
which is amazing.
another part of the country altogether. You know, you've got Old Tory with what's Southampton, the Russell Group University that advertises clearing on Channel 4 because it's that desperate. It's Southampton. I was watching Rick and Morty this week. And the University of Southampton asked me to go there. And I was like, you've not targeted this very well. It's not as bad as a few years ago, I went to the cinema with my friend Kimberly, who's the director of a department in a university. And there were only the 2 of us in the cinema, and every single advert was for universities and clearing. And we were both like, but we both work at universities and we don't want to go to one again. So thanks, you've wasted all. Thanks for subsidizing our film. Universities everywhere. Has everybody had a good day? Has anyone had a great day?
A medium day.
Medium day. What happens on a medium day that makes it medium?
Well, some things go good, some things go bad, and then you make the average, and then you get the mean.
Okay, good, right. I understand how averages work. Don't patronize me, Yulia. We haven't even started scoring yet.
Didn't you say you failed as a scientist? So I kind of felt compelled to explain it to you.
Not only did I fail as a scientist, I got a 3rd in the special maths course that they had to create for biologists because too many biologists were failing all the other maths courses. And according to the rules, they had to throw you out of the university if you failed maths, no matter how good you were at biology. So they made a special course called Maths for Thick People. And I scraped a 3rd in that. That's how bad I am at maths. But what I learned in science is you don't have to be good at maths because there's always someone in your department who does it for everybody. And that's why they're on every paper. It's because they're the one that's good at maths. How was everybody else's days? Ophelia, how was your day?
all right.
That's good. I'm hoping that level of enthusiasm lasts for the rest of the hour. I'm worried where to go next because I've got to try and lift it from there. But both Jack and Chungling are giving me death eyes of don't come to me. So
I give everyone death eyes all the time. It's fine.
Chungling, right, good, okay. In that case, I'll assume it's. You think you give people death eyes? People I don't know apologize to me in the street. just as I walk past them, they see my face and they go, "Sorry, mate." Like, I don't know what it is, but just like,
If
this is my normal
apologising to
face.
you or apologising for you?
No, they don't go, "I'm sorry for you, mate." They go, "Sorry, mate."
Okay, cool. Just wanted
So
to
tell
check.
us, Chung Ling, how was your day?
Yeah, fine. Less warm than previously, which was nice. On Tuesday, I took a thermometer to work, and it was 35 degrees in my office. So that was fun.
Do they not have any sort of air, anything?
There was a fan.
That just moves air,
Yep.
which, as we all know
That is
from
correct.
basic thermodynamics, warms it up, if anything.
Yeah, but it meant my laptop
Slightly.
didn't die like it did on Monday, which was nice.
Okay. I have you can't see it in the darkness, but there's an actual air conditioner hiding behind me. Jack, how was your day?
My day was somewhere between Julia's and Ophelia's.
Where between them? You've got to be more specific.
There's not much space in between our statements.
That's why I never got anything done.
So out there on the YouTube, if you've had a great day, you can let us know in the YouTube chat. Here's how you do it.
No one is watching.
They are. And they will in the future, don't forget, because this will live on my website forever. So think ahead. If you want to leave us any comments, tell us what a great day you've had, leave them in the YouTube chat. And what you can do is, if you leave us a comment, I can pull it over. So if you want to, last time we played this game, three friends of one of our acts just kept heckling him the whole time via the chat. So you can make sure I pulled over every single comment just to throw him off as much as possible. It was a great, great, great joy. And if you've got better answers to the questions than any of our panelists, feel free to type them into the chat. I might read them out. I might not. Look, there's Julia, who is, what's that? Saturn and the Sun. Is that it?
I think it's an accreting black
Big and
hole.
red. Oh, there we go. Clever. I just went by big and red, Sun, has rings, Saturn. That's the limit of my knowledge. That's why the questions that you're going to be facing about astronomy are so incredibly detailed. It's because of my amazing knowledge. What little knowledge I have of space is from books I used to buy from jumble sales when I was 9 that were published in the 60s and the 50s and are called things like "There Definitely Is Life on Mars."
Did you get the one with the where they're talking about the faces on Mars, which won an Ig Nobel Prize? Because that was a thing.
It sounds like it's well after my time. I only like the classic ill-informed 50s ones.
I think that might have been
I'd
like
want-
a 40s or something. But I don't know. I might be making that up.
I've got one from the 50s called NASA's Moon Mission, which has pictures of what all of the NASA moon mission things will look like. And they're all totally wrong. They all look like rockets out of 1930s films. It's just great. It says artist's impression of NASA. Like, this book's got nothing. It's not real. It's like one of those celebrity biographies written in 48 hours using Wikipedia. I did actually meet someone who writes those. They take 7 days. You write them as close to 24 hours a day as you can. And all you do is Google the person, find every quote they've ever done in any magazine or newspaper, and stitch it into the biography as if you've interviewed them. We're nearly there. Have you all been at the NAM? Is the NAM the National Astronomy Meeting? Have you all been? What was the best bit?
My talk.
What did you talk about?
X-rays from Jupiter, Saturn, and Uranus.
Brilliant, yeah. I'm well known for the X-rays. Anyway, that's a great sci-fi film beginning. Captain, on the scope, what is it? X-rays from Saturn, Jupiter, and Uranus. Ah, brilliant, right. What could it mean? I don't know. They must be scanning us. I don't know why everybody in this film is the voiceover from Pathé News. Brilliant. That was your favourite bit. For everybody else, what was your favourite bit? You can't just say Ophelia's talk to get out the question.
The poster session. Because then I
Poster
could,
session.
yeah, then you could walk around with this little avatar and look at posters. But I mainly used the poster session to chat with people.
Did you go in Second Life? What is this Was it in
It's
Gather.town?
it's Gaffertown, yes.
Second Life for people who owned Game Boys. All these 90s pop culture references, they're just flying over everybody's heads, aren't they? I told you I was a million years old, Julia. Right, it's gone past, which means we're allowed to start. I'm going to go off the stage because this is a proper comedy gig now, friends. I'm going to go off the stage and then the theatre staff will announce the show and I'll come back onto the stage and we'll start the entire proper thing. Here we go. Good evening, wonderful people of wherever you are. Would you please clap, cheer, and welcome to the stage your host, Steve Cross. Hello, everybody. Hello, welcome as I come into focus. That's me walking to the front of the stage. Welcome to this incredible edition of Never Explain, put together with the help of the University of Bath. Are any of you from the University of Bath? No! And the National Astronomy. I knew I'd get that wrong the first time. The National Astronomy. The thing is, right, astrology is well more useful than astronomy. Because, right, nobody...
Okay, I'm out. Sorry, guys.
If you really fancy somebody, right, and they've got a book of astrology in their house, you can look through it and see the day where it says you'll get an offer, which you should accept. And then you ask them out on that day. Can astronomy do that? By the way, I did do that. It turns out she never read the book. So she said yes for entirely non-astrological reasons. But the astrology, right, is just applied astronomy. Astronomy wouldn't even exist. All the funding, until the Science and Technology Facilities Council came along, all the funding was for finding out the future. So I don't think we should slag it off too much. Anyway, Malcolm Curry says sack him, which presumably refers to the man who cut the funding for astrology. What was I going to say? So we're part of the National Astronomical Meeting 2021. It was meant to be 2020. The planets didn't align, so it couldn't be 2020. And we're here in 2021, and this year, this is the first ever National Astronomy Meeting to be held entirely online, very much to the relief of every astronomy researcher who is a young woman. I don't know if you've all been following the stories from the sector for the past 5 years. If you do, you get that joke. Let's crack on with this, just some nodding, shaking of heads. They were like, astrology's the worst he's going to get. Nope! Here I am. I've got a list of names under my screen I might start reading out if things aren't going well. Let's crack on and do some work. I've got two incredible teams who are going to be answering incredible astronomy-related questions, and every time they say something that makes me laugh or would make me laugh, if I had what you humans call a soul, you'll hear this noise. And that noise means that their team has scored a point. But how are we going to keep track of the points, Steve? You're famously terrible at maths. Yes, I am. And that's why I've hired the incredible Jones the Maths, Wales' #1 number spotter, to track them numbers. Jones, how are you?
Well, Steve, as we're all aware, it's currently the biggest, hottiest, hot time in the history of Wales. So I'm extremely dehydrated, but instead of refilling myself with water, I'm refilling myself with beer. So let's see how those maths go.
Yes, the slightly irrational nature of some of the numbers that appear will be wonderful. And who are the two incredible teams, though, Steve? Who are the two incredible teams that are going to be answering your questions? Well, I would tell you, but I haven't got the window open. There we go. Right. So let's start with Team 1. We're going to start with Team 1, and that's Chungling and Jack's team. So let's go straight to Chungling, first of all, with the most impressive pile of board games that I've seen in a very long time. Chungling, who are you? What are your science? What are your science credentials?
Yeah, I'm Chungling. I am a third-year PhD student at the Mullard Space Science Lab, which is part of UCL.
Yes,
and
I've been there. It's got a swimming pool.
Yes, it does. It's great.
Have you been in the swimming
pool? It opened up like last week. Oh, I used to live like right next door to the swimming pool, so I was in it basically every day for 2 months while I was there.
Brilliant. Good. And what's your special area of expertise?
Machine learning, galaxy evolution, and public engagement.
Wow, all of that sounds really scary when you put it together. So super robot brains and the universe. Oh dear, this is how we get Skynet. Let's fly over and find. No, Skynet was air traffic control, wasn't it? Let's fly over to Jack, who is on the sun. Jack, who are you? What are your science credentials?
I'm Jack Reed. I
Oh
study.
no, it is Jack. Sorry, Jack. Go on.
I'm Jack. I study the sun because I'm Scottish and we all like to study mysterious things that we never see.
Very rarely does anyone get a point for their introduction, but there we go. Jones, that was way more succinct than your joke about Wales never getting any sun. Jack, which bit of Scotland are you from?
Aberdeenshire.
Wow, okay, so like proper Scotland, not the bit that's kind of just the northeast of England moved up a bit, but like really, really, as in, I assume you're using your voice for English people today.
Yes, toning it down.
Good, okay.
Please don't show anyone in Scotland this video. If you say that.
There's a postdoc. There's a postdoc I used to work with who was from Aberdeenshire, and everybody was like, "I don't understand him. I don't understand him." And then we'd hear him talking to his parents, and we'd be like, "Oh no, we did actually understand him."
It was mostly the comment about the southern bits of Scotland being northern England.
Well, the reason I did that joke was that I did some training in Inverness, and all of the engineers I was training in Inverness said that whenever they met anyone from the Central Belt, everybody in the Central Belt accused them of being inbred thickos. So I thought I'd strike a blow back for the non-Central Belt areas of Scotland. You know, I'm always supporting the underdog, Chung-Lin. That's all about me. So, I mean, if you and Jack are really good at this, I will be rooting against you throughout. But let's find out who the other team is. The other team is Ophelia and Julia. So we'll start with Ophelia. We'll explain the name. You've got to pronounce the name carefully. Ophelia, who are you? What are your science credentials?
I am Ophelia, so I'm a PhD student, and I study Jupiter's X-ray aurora and auroras in general, and X-rays from lots of planets, including Uranus. And I guess that's my comedy credentials as well, because I found X-rays coming from Uranus.
Yes, of course. Normally they're going in, but it was nice you found them coming out. So can you actually, did you say you can see auras?
Aurora, Northern Lights.
Oh, auroras. Okay, no, it's not some psychic. I wondered if it was some special psychic power thing that you had going on. Amazing. Ophelia, that's incredible. Everybody works on such brilliant stuff. I was hoping one of you would be like, I'll just try and see what moon rock is on the moon. Julia, what do you do?
Hi, I'm Julia, but Julia is also fine. And I'm a final year PhD student at KU Leuven in Belgium. So I'm nearly finished. And I work with waves in the solar atmosphere, which I study with simulations. And about my comedy credentials, well, some of the audience might be worrying when they hear my accent, but rest assured, I'm not German. I know that Germans are notoriously known to be completely unfunny, but I'm not German. I'm actually from Austria, which is nothing like Germany, like nothing at all.
Yeah. Austria is Germany. Let's So I make this joke like, you know, in a comic sense. But if you ever ask someone who's the most famous German, they always name an Austrian.
Yes, Schwarzenegger, right?
There we go, Schwarzenegger. That's who I was thinking of. Julia, now you said you're in your final year. What kinds of, if potential employers are watching, what sorts of things should they be thinking about offering you for very good money?
What
kinds of jobs do you want? Are you looking for a postdoc in sim?
Yeah.
Is this? Go on.
Actually, I already have a job for after my PhD, which I will be starting in October. So I already got an offer and I already got a job.
So all of you who are like, Julia seems very clever, fuck off. She's not coming to you. She's going to her own place. She's got it sorted. You'll have to go and hunt around in the second tier of potential.
Well, if you would double my salary, then I could still think about doing
bidding
something
war.
else.
Bidding war. I love a bidding war. I mean, ideally, I'd like to take 15% as your agent for starting the bidding war. Julia, is that a thing? Is that a thing in astronomy? Do people have agents?
No, we don't have agents. Maybe that's the problem, because I would have really liked to get paid more.
Next time, I'll give you some
But
help
if I get
negotiating.
double salary than I would have now, I will gladly give you 15%.
Okay, good. So if anyone out there is willing to pay Yulia, who is a PhD student now, she wants double that. So if anyone's willing to pay €20 a month, do let us know, and I'll take 15%. Let's crack on. Let's do some work, shall we? Let's start with round one. Every round is the same. I ask a question. Our incredible players answer the question. They get points for how good their answers are. And because she's so cocky about her future, we're going to go to Yulia with this one. Yulia, let's start. Question one. Which science fiction universe is your favorite, and how do you justify this choice to your science peers?
Well, one of the most annoying things is when science fiction claims to be scientifically accurate, but then it isn't. And as a scientist, that really annoys me. However, there is a science fiction setting that makes so little sense, that is so consistently inconsistent, that it is truly enjoyable. Star Wars. You want to have sound in space so your space battles are more awesome? Pfft, that's peanuts. You want to travel between different star systems without your hyperdrive in a matter of hours or days? No problem. You want a huge, magnificent battleships that need a crew of thousands despite having very advanced artificial intelligence available in the form of droids and that steer in space like big ships would in water? Of course. You want to have a super weapon that sucks in half of a star without destabilizing the star and then concentrate all that mass in the planet core without causing the birth of a neutron star or a black hole, and then shooting a huge laser that can split up with super light speed to destroy planets in another system? Ah, welcome to Star Wars. Where awesomeness is not bound by any of those boring rules of reality.
Incredible, but I didn't realize any of those broke the laws of physics. It is the learning that we're getting to here. Like, I've got a list in my head of all the things that are wrong with Star Wars, and none of them were that complicated. That's absolutely wonderful. And that's the difference, listeners, in case you're like, I've read a million blogs stagging off Star Wars, actually. It's the difference of getting real experts to do it. They're like, you can't actually compact the center of a star without getting a neutron star, without injecting it into the... It's mind-blowing, mind-blowing. And Yulia has shown her incredible commitment to the Star Wars universe with 2 Star Wars figures and a model that are behind
It's
her.
60 centimeters long. It's really big.
60 centimeters. 60 centimeters.
Yeah,
For
but it's
those
not
of you...
size is not
For those
what
of you who still think in feet and inches, that's what's known as a small Star Destroyer model. Let's fly over to Chung Ling, and we'll find out how Chung Ling's going to deal with this. Chung Ling, which science fiction universe is your favorite, and how do you justify it to your science peers?
Okay, so I'm going to stay in like the vaguely science fantasy realm as opposed to going like proper hard sci-fi, and go with the Pact World system. So this is the setting for the Starfinder tabletop role-playing game, and I quite like Starfinder because it is a pretty accurate description of my job. So that's always fun. And in like this is like you get a whole book with all of the rules laid out. So it's very nice because just some of these conversations that you have routinely as an astronomer or as a scientist, you don't have to have. So I get asked quite frequently, is there a God? Do you believe in God? And it's quite easy to do so when you can say, yes, I have literal magical powers that the gods have bestowed upon me. Ta-da! Please stop having this conversation with me. And similarly, when people go, so do you think aliens are real? I can go, well, that guy's an alien. That guy's an alien. That guy's an alien. So I'm going to go with yes, I think. So one of the big mysteries, I think, of the Starfinder system is what's called the gap, which is a burst of 300 years where everything that happened in that time has just been completely forgotten and erased from the entire consciousness of every being, which is pretty much how I feel every Monday morning, to be honest. And so that's pretty accurate. And also, speaking of my academic life, there are these aliens which are called contemplatives, which are like, they started off as humans, but they use their brains so much they grow big, like to the size of like a table, and the rest of the body shriveled up, which kind of feels like what you need to be an academic, to be honest. So it does feel reasonable to do science there.
Incredible, incredible. And thanks for just not going for one of the obvious four. I'm hoping that some of our listeners will be like, oh yeah, I should play that. That's wonderful. Right, let's go and let's talk to Ophelia with many more than 2 figures behind her, let's be honest. And we're going to find out, Ophelia, which science fiction universe is your favorite and how do you justify it to your science peers?
I mean, if you can't tell, Doctor Who is the best, universe. I'm a huge fan of Doctor Who. So not only did the Doctor realize that statues were trouble, before people started pulling them down, she can tell you if your research is worth doing or if you're just wasting your time studying Mars. And then there's the TARDIS, who wouldn't want a time machine like the TARDIS? You can go forwards in time, find out how the universe is going to end, or we can go back in time and buy lots of stocks in Zoom.
Or indeed buy lots of stocks in sponsor of the National Astronomy meeting, Slack, who presumably have been doing quite well during this whole... Why are you all grimacing? That's one of your funders. That's one of the funders of this whole thing is Slack. I've got the list of funders in front of me in case any of them came up. And there we go. Ophelia, that was absolutely wonderful. Thank you. Which is your favourite doctor of all of the doctors?
I've got to say 10. Number 10.
Who's that
yeah.
in? What's that in real numbers?
Real numbers. David Tennant.
Yeah, of course, it's David Tennant, correct. Although the real correct answer to who is the best doctor is Dr. Steve Cross. Thank you very much. Let's fly over to Jack and find out. Jack, tell me, which is your favourite science fiction universe and how do you justify it to your science peers?
One of my science peers recommended recently that I should watch Stargate. He advised me that for me the best thing would be a spaceship that flies into the sun. I thought that was a bit mean. I thought he liked me. Travel from planet to planet through wormholes, but we all fall down wormholes all the time. They fight off life forms from various inhospitable civilizations, but I have survived Dundee. And on the whole, I don't think my science colleagues can really criticise. They rather mundanely watch EastEnders, rather masochistically international football games, and rather salaciously Love Island. They are in no position to judge.
Exactly right, exactly right. EastEnders, let's not forget, is not fiction. It's a fly-on-the-wall documentary about life in East London. I live in East London. It is exactly like that all the time. My house is blown up 3 times in the last year. Brilliant work from everybody in round 1. Wherever you are, can we have a round of applause for our incredible teams for round 1? If you want to visit any of those science fiction universes, Google them. There's lots of stuff that you can get. Let's fly over to Jones the Maths. We're going to fly with the hyperdrive, so we get there very quickly. Wales, how's them numbers, Jones?
Well, it's very tight after the first round. Who Wars are just slightly behind at the moment. They're on 12.
12, that's pretty good. Pretty good.
But just pulling slightly ahead on Eendig Tree, we've got Team R.
Oh, on 13. New viewers, just always remember Jones only knows odd numbers in Welsh and even numbers in English, so things get really awkward. Malcolm Curry says, anyone for dark? No, Malcolm, nobody likes dark. Everybody only likes milk. People pretend to like dark so that they seem like they're grown-ups, but they only actually like milk. Let's move on. Round 2. Round 2 is my great list of science. I'm going to give all of our players... Sorry, I'm just going to tinker with the audio as I do this. I'm going to give all of our players the title of a PowerPoint slide, and they're going to jump in with bullet points that would be on that PowerPoint slide. And teams try not to talk across each other, but also try not to leave any long gaps between each other, thus making it as complicated as possible for you to say your answers. Let's start. Tell me, teams, what are astronomy terms that the chocolate industry will never use?
Uranus.
2 mass J180820002 minus 5104378B.
Ophelia with some binary there.
Wreckage found in the swamps of Florida.
What happens when you fall into a black hole? Spaghettification. Chocolate spaghetti, fusion.
Sorry, whenever I ding, it cuts Jack off, and I don't understand why. Sorry, Jack. I'll try and give you points at the end of sentences, Jack, rather than in the middle when you hit the funny bit. Keep them coming. What are the astronomy terms the chocolate industry will never use?
The really positive ones, like heat death of the universe.
I'd call a cocktail that.
Space Invaders. The crisps industry have that one taken.
It's technically Space Raiders, but I'll let it go.
Cancer.
NGC. Ah.
And an extra point for Yulia there for an astrology joke.
NGC 224, which is the name for Andromeda.
Nice. Nice.
Ejector.
Magnetohydrodynamics. You don't want to eat chocolate like that.
X-Bomb.
No, they'd use that. I'd release that. The first Steve Cross themed chocolate bar bursting with flavour, the X-Bomb, I'm in.
Corona?
That's already a beer.
I mean, coronal mass ejection has become very different in its meaning this year, hasn't it?
Yeah, that joke is so old. Sorry.
Any more astronomy terms? Sorry, Chungling, I missed that. Do it again for the listeners.
Baryonic acoustic oscillations.
I mean, good prog rock album title. Not really chocolate. Now, Jack, I feel I've cut a couple of yours off. Jack, have you got any others?
Don't tighten your Kuiper belt.
Perfect. Right, Ophelia, you were saying something.
Was I?
I was saying something.
Were you? Oh, Yulia, sorry. Ophelia made a lips move at the same time. It really confused me.
Well, as I said black hole because it's racist.
It wasn't till you said it was.
Well, now it is.
Till then, it was just an astronomical term.
Not anymore.
I can't point that. I
Okay.
can't point that. Think of the headlines. You got to give me things that are easy to score, teams. Right, let's move on. PowerPoint slide number 2. Things you hope you never see through a telescope.
How far away my dream of getting a permanent job in academia is.
Maybe Yulia can get you one when she's got this new flash job. She can hire you.
The dead bodies of all the animals that were sent into space.
My face.
The inside of
One for Chungling. Jack, bring it.
the inside of the lens cup. I'm not making that mistake again.
Imagine leaving the lens cap on the Hubble. Oh, no, wait, they just didn't put the lens in properly. Keep them coming.
The Vogons that come to demolish Earth in order to make way for a hyperspace expressway.
The vast empty expanse on my results chapters.
The thing is, you say that, but that's a proper PhD. People who've actually got results chapters are probably plagiarists. A real PhD has nothing stretched as thin as possible. Long introduction, nothing stretched as thin as possible. And then it ends with a really complicated way of saying somebody who's competent really ought to do this research. That's the conclusion. Don't hire me as the conclusion. But yeah, of course. Good. Tell me, what else do you hope you never see through a telescope?
A sperm whale and
Bezos
a
and
bowl of
Richard
petunias.
Right, I'm going to score Chungling because I heard it, and then we're going to go back to Jack to say it again.
Jeff Bezos and Richard Branson.
Oh, God, can you imagine?
On the other hand, it might be better if they stayed up there.
How did none of those launches go wrong? That's what I don't get. I thought at least one of the two of them would be like, no. They finally mastered 1950s USSR technology. Well done. Any more? Things you hope you never see through a telescope.
Assuming you look directly through a smaller telescope and without filter, then the sun. because then I would never see anything again.
Jack's hoping he does see it through a special kind of telescope. That's the problem.
The place I have to go to get my next COVID vaccine.
My funding
Death
being
Star.
stuck into a black hole.
Jack, go again.
The Death Star.
Yeah, no, that's exactly one or two.
Any.
Okay. It's just one's got a built-in weakness, so it wouldn't be a problem. You just, because you, presumably, Jack, you bullseye womp rats in your T16 back home. It's not that big a challenge for you.
But I'm lazy.
Yeah, okay, fine. Fair enough. Let's move on. Question 3. Tell me, teams, what are phrases that make every astronomer wince?
National
What is
Astrological
that noise?
Meeting.
Is that
That
what?
was me. That was a,
National Astrological Meeting? Yeah.
Pluto is/isn't a planet.
Which one makes you wince?
Well, one of those will make one half wins and the other one the other half.
Is it a planet or not?
I think it isn't a planet.
Right,
It
no
doesn't
question.
fit the definition.
Next.
Uranus
I
probe.
need a Hubble.
Right, let's go Jack, and then we'll go back to, was that Ophelia? Jack, go.
I need a Hubble.
Ophelia.
Uranus probe.
I mean, I know people who pay good money for an extra Uranus probe. More phrases that make every astronomer wince.
The JWST
Sorry,
launch
Jun-
is delayed again.
Yes, Shinling. Go, Jack.
Mercury is called inferior. Why do astronomers not like it?
Oh, you still believe the moon is real?
Have you figured out if the Earth is round or flat yet?
But I saw a video on YouTube once.
I saw a video on YouTube once of the Royal Astronomy Society's outreach officer Sheila Kanani talking. Not all of YouTube's bad. It was about how to make comets or something. Oh, wait, I filmed it. Keep them coming.
Specific moon phases define the best time when to cut your hair.
I have a question. Well, it's more of a comment.
You're an astronomer? Oh my god, I'm a Gemini.
Why hasn't anyone landed on the sun yet? They could do it during the night.
That's actually so good. That's a 2-pointer because I love that.
That takes way too much time. It's going to take light years.
Satellite mega constellations.
The problem with astronomers is that they're just not grounded.
Amazing. Right, let's total up those scores. Big round of applause for all of the teams there. None of you got the 10-point answer, which is, of course, presented by Brian Cox. Let's move on and find out how all of the teams did. Joan's doing some furious maths there in the background. Got some suggestions. The Earth is tetrahedrical. Powerful lobby of Flat Earth doesn't want you to know the truth. No idea what any of the words in that means. And Ophelia, apparently it's too soon. What for? We don't know. It's too soon for something. It's too soon to be as drunk as me and Jones are. The solar physics, why are you looking at only one star? I would argue for cosmologists. Like, what sort of an experiment is it when n equals 1? There's only one universe. Like, you need to get a control universe before I'm interested in any of the stuff that you come out with. Let's fly over to Jones. Jones. What's the numbers?
Well, Steve, it's all changed because now, slightly behind, we've got Team who are currently on
them.
34.
34. So, I mean, it's a good score, but I'm disappointed they've let it slip like that. Maybe round 3 will bring them back.
But pulling just ahead on who was on Tridic Pimp.
Oh, Trading Pimp. Always good to get a pimp number. We should bring in a rule where you automatically get an extra point if you're on a pimp number, but not today because that would complicate things. Great. Everything to play for as we go to round 3. Round 3, we're going to talk to everybody in the reverse order. We talked to them in round 1, which means Jack is first. So, Jack, here's the question. And this is a question, you can tell I just finished reading the 3-Body Problem trilogy when I wrote this question. Uh-oh! Long-range sensors have detected an alien fleet on its way to Earth, arriving in 400 years. How is your specialist knowledge going to save us all, Jack Reed?
I'd send a probe into the sun to cause a massive solar flare to knock them out. Unfortunately, the fireball would give everyone in Scotland sunburn. Alternatively, set off a fireball directed at the Earth. If we can't have it ourselves, then they definitely can't. If research isn't going that well, not that that's at all possible, I might just separate all the pages in my thesis and stitch them together to run up a giant white flag.
Amazing. Now, I didn't point that during because it cuts off your audio every time I give you a point. So here they are. If I was sitting weird, it's because I'm counting on my fingers underneath the whole way through. Thank you very much, Jack. Let's flip over to the other team, and I believe it is Ophelia who's going to be telling us. Ophelia. Oh, long-range sensors. Don't know how they work. By the way, I didn't specify that we could see them, so you couldn't be all, well, actually, if we've seen them, they're only this far away, assuming they measure out there. It's long-range sensors, like in Star Trek. They're magic. They are the Ansible in the Ender's Game series. They can detect anything. Long-range sensors have detected an alien fleet on its way to Earth, arriving in 400 years. Ophelia, how is your specialist knowledge going to save us all?
So I study Jupiter's X-ray aurora most of the time, and how that, why it has it basically, and we know that these X-rays pulse periodically, so like every tens of minutes or so, and we also know that the radio emissions also pulse at the same time. So my plan is to harness this power and control it so that I can turn it into a sick drum and space beat and turn Jupiter into the best nightclub in the solar system so the aliens would go there instead of to the Earth.
Thanks for giving me an excuse to play the amen break there. Wonderful answer. Yeah, of course. We'll just send them to Jupiter, where it's really happening. Amazing. Right, who am I going to next? I am going to the boss. It's the boss of board games. It's Chung Ling. Chung Ling, tell me. Long-range sensors have detected alien fleet, 400 years. How is your specialist knowledge going to save us all?
Well, I mean, the fact that there are actual aliens and an actual threat might help me, because people might actually start listening to me now and stop asking me, what's the point of astronomy? You don't actually do anything productive for the Earth. But thinking about it, I mean, 400 years is probably enough time for me to write up a neural network and for it to train properly, if we're lucky. So I guess I could try and do that and just spend the rest of the time crying under the weight of anxiety and imposter syndrome or something. And then also there might even be like a nearby patch of dust or something in one of the Milky Way's arms that we could somehow divert the solar system into and just hide there and hope that no one wants to use a vacuum cleaner for the next however many years.
How are we going to divert the solar system? Do we just build engines on the sun and turn them on?
That's what the neural network's for, Steve.
Okay, good, right. It'll work it out. So you build Skynet and hope that it decides to save us rather than it goes, computing. It would be less effort to turn over the Earth to the aliens. I will raise everything to the ground to prepare it.
That is if we hadn't done it in the 400 years coming up to that.
Yeah, that's true. 400 years is a lot of time. Like, given the waves of people, whether they've given a shit about COVID or not, after 400 years, imagine how many times we would have had to go through waves if the aliens aren't even real. That's absolutely incredible. But we've got one more incredible answer to hear before we find out how them numbers are doing. Joanna wants to know, what would the nightclub on Jupiter be called? Do any of you have any suggestions?
Big red bob.
Like it. That's worth a point straight away. Joanna says, I reckon the neural network will learn a sexier voice than that. It cannot. All technology is limited, so computers can only talk in this voice. Believe me, listen, I installed the Talking Moose on a Macintosh in 1989. I know the limit of computer speech. Let's go into Yulia now. Yulia's very focused. This is the sort of thing that happens to her all the time. Yulia, what are you going to do to stop the aliens? What are you going to do? Listen, I'm the president of the... No, Jones is the president of the world. She's called you here. She doesn't speak because she's too busy. I'm her chief of staff. We've called you in, Yulia. You're the only expert. What the hell do we do about these aliens?
Well, if we already know hundreds of years in advance of the arrival of this fleet, then their course is dead set. Our only chance of survival is in 400 years to not be where we are supposed to be. In other words, we run. Now, as most of you may know, there are very often explosions on the sun that are called solar flares. They can be somewhat imagined as sun farts. In addition, there are also phenomena called coronal mass ejections that can be imagined as sun farts with a little bit more substance in it. And as you may have experienced when you ejected substance peripherally at a very high speed when you ate something wrong, that this can be used as a propellant, or better, poop-pellant, exactly like in rockets. My research leads to a better understanding of all the processes in the solar atmosphere. Using that knowledge, we can then manipulate when and where solar farts, with and without significant substance, occur to then slowly, over the years, propel or propel the sun, and with it our entire system, away from the aliens' attack vector. Project Sol Poop, letting the sun shit because we are shitting our pants.
Wonderful. I mean, I'm sure those of you with astronomical brains are like, but that would lead to the collapse of the Invector Kuiper's system trajectory, Triton.
I'm very
which
sure
would
we
lead
can
to the
figure it out.
inevitable heat death of the synchrotron. I don't know any science actual. I just know science words, and I find as long as you put them together, then the 2-year-olds I have to talk to all the time never question me. That was a wonderful answer. Wonderful answer. I'm loving the whole idea of let's just run away. Let's hope they've only had enough fuel for the launch and they've not kept a little bit in case we run away. And then you just, because of the beauty of, momentum, you just get to watch them flying away forever. At the speed of, we're just beaming them messages at the speed of light, going, miss me. Couldn't hit the side of a bus from inside a bus.
It must just be more work catching us than it's worth, and then they will not find us.
Okay, good. I mean, we got to find out what they're after and inject it all into space. Because we assume they want our water, but they're aliens. They've got totally different ways of living. They might be like, we must head to the Earth in order to eat all of their poop. And we're like, we'll just eject the poop from the planet. You have it, guys. Take it. Oh, you live on CO2. Brilliant. We'll just package a load up and chuck it out the atmosphere and you can come and get it. Like, we don't know what they want. And they can't talk to us because they're very alien. By very definition. No, I think that's filled enough time while Jones did some numbers. Some of you are like, why, after all the answers, does Steve just prattle on for a minute and a half? It's because Jones has got numbers to add up. Jones,
I do them straight away. I don't know.
The subject. Well, okay. I'm in the habit of doing it because sometimes we have other scorers who are not as competent as you. Sometimes we have Schlacker Krupp, and they say that. Well, anyway, that's her joke, not mine. What do the numbers look like?
Well, the numbers are larger, but the pattern is very much still the same. So we've got Team R still behind slightly on Pedro Dig Scythe.
Oh, it's a big number. It's a big number, 47.
But just 47. Scraping in ahead, still the leaders, who was on 48.
48. I mean, this is tight. This is very, very, very
Go
tight.
either
We've
way.
only got one question in it. So it's going to get tactical now. We've got one question left, and I'm going to go to the team captains, Yulia and Chungling, and I'm going to say, out of your teams, who would you like out of your team to go first, Yulia?
First of all, when was decided that I'm a team captain?
I just decided then.
And second of all, I would like to go first because then Ophelia's last and she's really good.
Okay, good. Right. We're going to start with Yulia then, and then we'll go to whoever Chungling chooses from Chungling's team. It's also Jack's team, but I had to pick a captain and put pressure on, you know. So I just looked at who I thought could handle the pressure. Yulia, now, tell me, question 3.
Four.
Not question 3, question 4. Which astronomical feature, entity, thing do you think has the best stories?
Well, as a solar physicist, I would of course think it's the corona. It would have the best stories. Usually it's a bit underappreciated with its big sister Sun outshining the corona all the time. I mean, yes, Sun is the most popular star among all the two-legged intelligent species we know of, but that is no reason to always feel the spotlight. Corona could tell us spaceship loads about how Sun seems to believe that the entire system is revolving around it. Sun is just too self-centered and, to be honest, a bit dense. But now about Corona. Corona would tell us how it thought that now people are talking about it all the time in the whole world. That this would be the time to step out of Sun's shadow. But then, and that's a bit awkward, Corona realized that, in fact, everyone actually meant someone else, a namesake that is much younger than Corona. But Corona does not need the spotlight. Its radiant personality has just so many interesting features on its own. If I were to talk to Corona, I would have so many questions. Like, how are you holding up? Why are you so good with reconnections? And finally, I had used the opportunity to tell Corona something that I always wanted to tell it. I would say, hey, you're hot. But why?
It was going so well. And then there was just a pun. And the pun, like, it was like a really good story where at the end, somebody says, and I woke up and it was all a dream. Yulia, like, you took us so far, and then, it's just, you need to go on a very expensive storytelling for scientists course run by Dr. Anna Pshaisky. It's very expensive, but very good. And while you're here, why not buy a book?
I'm so bad.
No, just like, you had such a great set of stories, and then you finished it on a down note. But while you're here, why not buy Dr. Anna Pshaisky's? Handmade, everybody. I don't get any money from it. I just like to amplify the voices of women in science. Buy Anna Pshaisky's book. Let's fly over to Chungling. And Chungling, who are you going to throw yourself into the ring, or are you throwing Jack into the ring for this first bite at the stories question?
You see, I was going to take the opposite view of Julia and have Jack go first to start strong.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. Well, I don't know how you all are into sport, but there's a well-known thing that with penalties in football, your best penalty taker should take your first penalty. There's lots of superstar penalty takers like to go last so they can have the glory, but often their team has lost by the time they get there. Always best penalty taker goes first. Jack, you're the best penalty taker. I won't ding during your answer because it always cuts you off. I'll just count them on my hands and then do all the dings at the end. But Jack, tell me, which astronomical feature do you think would have the best stories to tell?
I imagine Venus must have some completely out of this world stories. Compared with all the other planets, Venus spins backwards, but people who go with the flow have nothing meaningful to say. We all like to rant and vent a bit, but Venus can be truly wickedly acidic at times. Venus is called old Earth's twin, and twins can always be really wicked to you, as I know to my cost. Alternatively, Venus is often called the morning star, and we all know there are some pretty wild claims in a Marxist paper. Everyone wants to meet someone famous and have all the stories to tell, but how many people have consorted with a Vulcan, have danced around with Mars, and been probed by Galileo?
Amazing. Round of applause for Jack. Jack, are you an actual twin?
Yes, Gemini.
Point for that straight away. And then 8 for the actual answer. Now, Jack, do you like your twin or do you hate them?
We have a love-hate relationship. I love how she hates me.
Okay, good. It's just like I have 2-year-old twins, so I'm always asking people who are grown-up twins, say, do you like each other? Why don't you like, or why do you like each other? Why don't you like, how can I bring mine up to want to spend every minute with each other? Because otherwise, like, life is too complicated. When they're 8, I don't want to have to take one to football and then one to basketball at the same time. They need to be such good friends. They both play the same sport. And if they want piano lessons, they have to learn one end of the piano each and play it together. And that sort of thing. It's very important to me. Right.
It doesn't work. They're a bit like matter and antimatter. The particles form in pairs and then they just separate and go their separate ways.
And if they meet again, they explode?
Good twin joke. Well, they explode when they're near me. When they're near me, they're just like hitting each other in the face and screaming. But apparently, when they're at nursery, they defend each other like cornered animals. If another child comes and is like, meh, at one of my kids, the other one will batter in at them like a rugby player and just flatten them. Yeah,
they're young, they'll change.
Right, let's go to Ophelia, because Yulia's entire strategy for the entire game is hanging on this. Now, Ophelia, I don't want to put some like Rashford style pressure on you, but basically she's built the entire thing around this. Chungling is just there ready to tap in the winner if you don't nail this answer. So no pressure.
Yeah.
Okay. Ophelia, you got to do it right. No pressure.
All right.
Don't fuck this up. This better be really good. No pressure.
Okay. Well, I also went with Venus, actually. I think Venus will definitely have the best story to tell, right? Because, I mean, she's the goddess of love. I bet she stated a lot of interesting characters whilst playing the electromagnetic field. I want to know if her lovers have ever felt the crushing pressure of dating one of the hottest heavenly body in the solar system. She's incredibly bright as well as beautiful. I'm sure there's loads of tales to tell about the time she's outshone her planetary pals. You never quite know with Venus, because underneath her thick atmospheric makeup, she's quite stony and has a volcanic personality. And sure, there's a big age gap between me and Venus. I mean, I know I'm old, I'm in my 30s, but not quite as old as her. But despite that, I honestly think that Venus and I would make great friends, and we'll get on like a space probe on fire.
Incredible. And Ophelia, never forget that the technical term is late 20s.
Okay, yeah, I'll use that for now. Thanks.
Yeah, I'm in my late 20s. I always refer to myself as that. So that was high pressure. I thought you delivered well. But let's find out. The opposition have got one more penalty taker lining up. Look at the steely glance that's ready there. Is this going top corner of the net? By the way, for those of you who don't follow sports, that means in. Or is it going into row M? For those of you who don't follow sports, that means over. Chungling, tell me, which astronomical feature do you think would have the best stories to tell?
Okay, I'm going to go with stars that are in the halo of the Milky Way. Most of these are over 12 billion years old, so they're bound to have a lot of stories to tell. Particularly,
they're in their late 20s.
Yes, very much so. And you can imagine they're going to start a lot of these tales with "back in my day" or "when I was young" or something like that. And also, X-ray observations of their area have shown that there's a large amount of gas around there, so these tails are going to be good. So the halo stars are like outside of the disk of the Milky Way, so they hover above, but so they're effectively taking like drone footage of all the gossip that's happening with the stars and everything else in the Milky Way at the moment. And they're also closer to other galaxies as well, so they're going to be like the first in line with all the new juicy gossip that's coming in from other galaxies. There are also halo stars quite dim on the whole, so it's always the quiet ones that have the really, really good stories and always shock you and things. So that's going to make it fun. And some of the stuff's got to be good because Beyonce wrote a song about them as well.
Well played, Beyonce. We've just got a quick comment from Noemi here, who's just pointing out one of Ophelia's jokes for everybody there that Ophelia did. Yeah, Noemi, that was the joke. Let's fly. Sorry, but I just want to, like, in case Ophelia sees that and thinks that was the joke, I want that moment of that was the joke to be on me being horrible and going, that was the joke. And Ophelia can remain like perfectly, I never said all those things, I just said the funny things. But let's go and find out, because this is very important now. The numbers. Jones, how are the numbers?
Well, Steve, as always, in last place is everyone else in the world with
Everyone
0
else.
points.
Yeah, you and I didn't even get any. Wales didn't get any.
Everyone's really going to start pulling their weight one of these days.
Yeah.
But in second place, it may surprise you to learn, it's Who Was on Huedig Tree.
They put the whole game on a specific strategy and it didn't pay off. Oh, Julia, you'll be replaced as Who Was captain for the next game, I'm sure.
But stealing it at the last minute.
Yeah.
With one of the best numbers available. We've got Team R on Huedig Pimp.
Yes, it's a tight game. It's been a tight game, but I think a justified victory. Winners, have you got any words for the losers?
Take that, Julia. England's penalty strategy never works.
Yeah, it's about time England won something against Germany / Austria, the Austro-Prussian Empire. I want to ask all of you before we go, right, where can people find more of you? If anybody's enjoyed this and they want to see more of your science communication or your science or your face, where can they find you? Who would like to go first?
I mean, I guess the best place to find me is on Twitter. I am Ophelia W.
Cool. So it's Ophelia spelt like it is on the screen and then just the W.
Yeah.
Amazing. Good. You can go and find Ophelia on Twitter.
I'm also on Twitter at Chungling Astro.
Chungling Astro. Okay, so spelt like on the screen but with no space and then with Astro on the end. Brilliant. Right.
Yeah,
that's where you can find Chungling if you want to find out more about Halo stars. Julia, Jack, anywhere people can find more from you?
I'll have you know I'm not enough of a twit. Not on Twitter, just Google Jack Reed St Andrews, you'll find my website.
Perfect. Julia?
Well, I'm a bit more old-fashioned. I'm not into Twitter, but you find me on Facebook with exactly the name that's displayed there.
I thought Julia was about to say, I'm a bit more old-fashioned. Send me a letter.
You can also send me a letter, but I'm not giving you my
address. This is Julia, number 1, Brussels. Jones, where can people find you?
Well, on Twitter or Instagram, I am at Sarah Jokes. Well, it's at Sarah _jokes. I've just said it wrong. That's what's happening.
Just say it wrong. Brilliant.
At Sarah _jokes.
Thank you all very much for being part of this extreme silliness. If you're out there and you've enjoyed this, follow this YouTube account because we do these on a regular basis and they're quite fun. And we'll have all sorts of scientists from all over the world performing and answering inappropriate questions about the stuff they do. I want to say good night to all of you. I want to say a massive thank you to all our teams. I want to remind everybody, you'd have a lot more money if you did astrology instead. I've been Steve Cross. Bye-bye. Bye-bye, friends. Bye-bye. See you soon. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.